Welcome back. I'm Chauncey Williams, and this is Smart Banking Lesson 2 to the What Do I Do Now series from WhatDoIDoNow.biz with financial literacy to credit and debt help. Let's get right into what smart banking is. Smart banking. When considering your financial freedom, it is essential to establish a relationship with your local bank or credit union as they offer a wide range of services, including savings and checking accounts, investments accounts, and access to ATM services. They are usually the first place you will turn to when you need a personal loan. Finally, they allow individual customers to have access to national and global financial networks where you may have funds transferred, checks deposited, through which you may transfer funds. All right, in this section, we will examine the most common features and services offered by banks and credit unions. After reading this section, you will have a clear understanding of your banking needs and characteristics of traditional banks, savings and loans, and credit unions. Most people use a bank or credit union primarily for checking account services. These people deposit income into their checking account and write checks or use a debit card, pay loans, bills, and withdraw money. For many, this is an extent of their relationship with the bank. Others use bank as a savings account and possible investment vehicles. At one time, the purpose of the banks was primary place where people kept their savings and earned interest or turned to when they needed a loan. Hence, the development of savings and loans. So when you're recognizing the increase in the average number of transactions per month, banks have begun charging customer fees for many of these transactions, including the following: fees for dealing with the teller, fees for using the ATM machines, check fees, balance inquiry fees, and minimum account balances maintained. We're gonna dive deeper in this and just really look at the position of a bank and a credit union also. So credit union versus banks. Credit unions are usually nonprofit financial institutions formed by a small group of people with a common bond, such as members of a labor union or occupation or the same employer. Because they are nonprofit, credit unions offer lower costs or fees for service and offer higher interest rates on your deposits along with lower rates on your loans. Usually, credit unions pass on their profits to their members in the form of free banking and checking services and increased interest earned. I am a member of a teachers' credit union, but I also am a member of a private bank. So I use a credit union for my savings, paying my insurance, my emergency fund, life insurance, car insurance. So those things are much more affordable because I'm with a labor union, but in the same capacity, the credit union is a great advantage to me because of my profession. I'm an educator by profession, and this is something I do as a business to help people understand financial literacy. So I use my education to still help and guide people in the right manner, but I do have both accounts. And I have an online checking account also to do other various things with businesses overseas and other spaces. So the advantages and disadvantages to commercial banks are: advantages of a commercial bank is they're well recognized with multiple branch locations. You can mention any bank's name and you could drive in a city and you possibly could find that bank there. Full range of banking services. You can do much more things when you're in another country, in another state. Online banking is exclusive. Worldwide network of ATMs. Now the disadvantages of commercial banks, the big banks, are they charge fees for most of their services, including checking fees and ATM fees, and they can be expensive. They require a minimum account balance, sometimes $5,000 to $15,000 or $2,000. They may charge teller fees when you talk to a teller because they have a lot of overhead before you get to the bottom line where your money is at. Advantages and disadvantages to credit unions. Now, credit union, like I said, I have both a commercial bank and credit union. I call it the big banks for the commercial banks. Advantages of credit unions: fees and loan rates are usually the lowest as they are a nonprofit organization. Earnings may be paid out to members. So a lot of times you'll earn a higher interest rate and you'll get a chance of getting a loan better because they're more local. And once you build that relationship up and they see that you are investing into their business because it's privately owned, it can help you because you're part of that labor union. So you get a discount when it comes to certain things. So checks are not returned to you, and a lot of people don't write checks anymore. So some people still do, but 3 to 5% are not federally insured. So that can be an issue also. In the past 20 years, banking has become extremely competitive with the emergence of the internet and electronic banking. Many people may find it unnecessary to have a bank they can visit. Their transactions in banking can all be done through the telephone, the computer, the ATM, or the old-fashioned check writing. As a result, the average consumer will benefit from the competition, which will require a higher quality of services and lower rates to remain competitive. It is no surprise that credit unions and non-banks have grown at such a rapid rate. So we're talking about the credit union, then we're talking about the online service. Like I said, I have an online bank where I do some of my banking online. If I want to buy something and I want to make sure that it's secure, I use that online banking account. I transfer money from either my credit union or my commercial bank, and I put it in those spaces. And then I do business overseas, or I do some type of investments where I know my money is protected. How to find and become a member of a credit union. I do this a lot of times for my clients. I tell them the best way to build their credit history is to build a relationship locally with a credit union, because they have a lot of resources to help you qualify for loans, such as secure credit cards and secure loans. And they want to make sure that you are someone that they can trust. So you build that private relationship. But I'm going to share more into the details that I have on this actual sheet today. Almost every major organization and large corporate employer has become affiliated with a credit union. Therefore, you may be able to join a credit union through your employer. So in my case, I'm an educator, so I join the teachers. However, if you are employed or work for a small company, you may be able to join a credit union through a sponsorship from a relative. So you could be married to someone, a cousin, and they can have you come in with them. So the characteristics of smart checking, as previously discussed, your checking account is one of the most frequently used banking services. So it's important to obtain the most ideal checking account to manage. Some of the things to look for, well, it may include the following. When you're looking at the checking, when you're thinking about a credit union, be sure that your checking account offers interest on your balance. Many bank and most credit unions will pay an interest rate on your checking account. What are the fees charged on the account? Ideally, do you want to locate a bank or credit union that charges no fees at all? What is the minimum account balance that must be maintained? Many banks will charge a fee if the minimum balance is not maintained. You should avoid this because, as stated earlier, the credit unions have a no-fee policy. Are the branch locations and hours of operation convenient to you? So a lot of times, that's why I deal with the commercial bank, because I need to do certain banking where I need to have access on a Saturday, or something where I can transfer some funds into a certain space and my credit union won't do it. So I dealing with those fees. Can you check your transactions and account balances on the phone or after hours or online? Are there any per check fees? Now, a lot of people are not writing checks. Some people still do. I got some clients that still pay me by checks. I'm like, okay, but everybody's doing everything online, but we're supposed to have as variety as we can and diverse as we can to help others. Some banks charge you a fee per check, and others give you a limited number of checks per month. Be sure that your checking account has no check charges, especially during these days and times. So this is another exercise. Every lesson has an exercise. So this is exercise 2.1, smart banking. Does the bank, and it's the last comment for the banking, last characteristic, does your bank offer overdraft protection? That is imperative. You really need to make sure that. This means if you succeed the amount in your checking account, the bank will cover the check and you will owe that amount. So we're getting right into the smart banking. It's just going to help you understand you should go out and do these things. And I make my clients do these things when they're building their credit. Contact one commercial bank and one credit union in your area. Compare the available services and the cost of the services in the following area. Interest on a used car loan. Interest on new car loans, checking account fees, ATM fees. Be prepared to discuss this in our next course. And that's our lesson for today. When we come back, we'll talk about credit cards and how to have a great relationship with them. I'm Chauncey Williams. This is What Do I Do Now? And we are here to build your financial future with credit and debt help.